and look at this beautiful view.
All right, and then you got your boots.
Press down and roll.
All right, it is January 22nd, 2022. I have at least 2 ski trips coming up this year, and I want to be ready for them. I'm new to skiing. I've only been skiing once in my life, and so I'm using this year to hopefully learn it for real. First order of business is to get all my equipment and all my clothes. Speaking of, you can see here the first thing that has arrived. I really never skied growing up until I was like in my 30s. And me not knowing how to ski, I've been a little bit limited. Like sometimes I go on trips to Lake Tahoe with people, but I'm usually the one that stays behind in the ski house and stays in the hot tub or relaxes or whatever else that is not skiing. But then a few years ago, I was like, okay, this has got to change. I cannot let this limit me any longer. And so at the beginning of 2020, I went to Whistler in Canada with some friends, took my first ski lesson, skied my first green slope, and it was great. But even after that trip, I knew I was still not that proficient, and so I really wanted to learn more so that I could not be held back. And so the rest of 2020 was supposed to be the year that I was going to learn to ski. But then 2020 happened, and well, you know the rest. And so now it's 2022, it's finally the year. I'm gonna put the time and the effort in, and we're going to see how it goes. Just here editing at my desk, and it is quite a while after that trip that you just saw. I would say that trip was pretty cool. I really enjoyed learning and taking some lessons. Now I was still at a pretty basic level, didn't even make it up to a green slope. We were just kind of in the training area the whole time. But I have to say, I felt a lot more comfortable than I did the first time I had skied a couple years before. All right, so I actually got a lot more trips coming up, but first I want to talk a little bit about both learning and then equipment. All right, so one of the things I'm also trying to do this year is find the best way to learn to ski. Now you can do lessons on the mountain, you can watch YouTube videos, you can do all sorts of things. But I actually heard from a friend a while back that you can do indoor ski lessons. So it's the evening, I have a 7 p.m. indoor lesson coming up, and I will show you what it looks like.
Just press down into the carpet more.
Okay.
And
then less, yeah.
Maybe less tilt on the
Less
skis.
tilt, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Press down and roll. Yay. Press down and roll.
All right, I'm done with the lesson, and I have to say, it seems like a pretty interesting way to simulate skiing in an indoor environment. I still need to see how well it translates to being on the mountain, but hopefully some of the muscle memory and some of the skills will actually be helpful. So basically I decided that instead of renting a lot of the equipment this year, that I would actually buy a lot of it. So what do you need? This was pretty intimidating for me when I first started. It seems like there's so much equipment and it's so expensive, but let me break it down. Okay, so first you want to start with your underlayer, and that can be something that you probably already have around the house. On your top, you want something like this fleece, which is a fleece that I have had since like college. And then on your bottom, you want some kind of long underwear, something to keep you warm when it's cold outside. All right, and then you want your actual ski clothes, which is what I already showed you. So you have your ski jacket, and then you have your ski pants also. I went ahead and bought like specific ski jacket and ski pants. I don't know if other types work that well. I saw people in all kinds of things on the mountain, but the benefit of this, or at least one of the benefits of this, is that it's snow-proof, so that when you fall, like I do all the time, the snow won't get inside and make you all wet. All right, and the next thing that you're gonna want is some goggles. They make these especially for skiing, and I think the main purpose is that if it's snowing, and you're skiing, you don't want it to get in your eyes, and also just makes it just like a lot easier to see, and your eyes don't get affected by the wind and all of that. And then you want some gloves because it's gonna get cold outside, and if you know me, you know I get cold pretty easily. In fact, I'm usually wearing like a hat and gloves, even just walking around San Francisco during the day, even if it's like in the 60s. I know that's like super extreme. All right, and then you got your boots, which is what I got at Sports Basement last weekend. Now, getting these is actually a process that takes longer than you might think. What you have to do is you have to go to the store, they sit you down, they measure your feet, and then they bring out a bunch of different options for you to try. Their thinking and kind of what they said was that, hey, this is a big investment. These are actually pretty expensive. We want to make sure that they fit you well. So they brought out like 3 or 4 or 5 pairs, some trial and error. We finally found some that fit well. And then they're like, but there's one more thing. This liner here, this like cushion inside, you can't really tell, but it actually comes out. And what they do is they take this inner cushion, they put it in this heater contraption for like 10 minutes and it heats up the cushion. And then they make you stand in it for another 10 minutes. And the whole thing is, this is like heat molding where it's supposed to make it so that it conforms to your feet better. So then you do that, and then finally you got your boots. And apparently it's supposed to be a lot better than renting boots, because when you're renting, you're getting boots that don't necessarily fit to your feet that well, but these are supposed to fit much better. And I can tell you that after skiing in these, I agree, these are much better than any of the boots that I've ever rented. So that's your boots. And then what else do you need? Okay, so a couple more things. You need a helmet to protect your head. This is something that I have not yet bought, and I will probably just rent, at least for the next time that I go. And then finally, you have the main attraction, which is your skis. Now, I was originally also thinking about buying these, and when I went to Sports Basement to talk to the people about the boots, I also asked them about the skis, and I was like, hey, should I buy these now? Should I keep renting? Like, when should I make that decision? And what they basically said was that when you're buying your skis, the type of skis that you buy actually depends on your skill level, in particular the length. And what they said is that, hey, you're still a beginner. You should probably just wait, because the skis that you would buy right now are not necessarily the skis that you would want when you become more advanced. When you rent, you can kind of try out a few models, see what you like, and then you can buy once you're more advanced. Okay, so that's a lot. So just to recap all the stuff you need your underlayer, which is like the long underwear for me, and then also the fleece. You need your ski jacket, you need your ski pants, you need your goggles, you need your gloves, you need your boots, you need your helmet, and then you need your skis. Oh, and then one more thing, if you're like me, you actually need one more item, which is your GoPro camera. So you want this so you can take some cool videos while you're skiing. You can either have it on your helmet, which is what I've already tried before, and then you can also get a selfie stick, which is on its way from Amazon, so you can kind of hold it out here when I get good enough where I don't need to like manage my poles all the time. I can hold my selfie stick and I can be taking video of myself skiing down the mountain. So I know that sounds like a lot, and it is, and it's also expensive if you were to buy all of that. But luckily, if you're just trying this out, you can actually rent almost all of that. Try it out, see if you like it before you make any big financial commitment. Drove up to the Sugar Bowl ski resort, which was actually pretty nice. Now, it was all greens. I haven't made it to the blue level yet, though I'll try that next time. But even those, there were some good trails. It was a lot of fun. My favorite one at Sugar Bowl was this one called Harriet's Hollow. You're just skiing through some different areas, including this really nice kind of wooded area with some trees, and it's just like nice and peaceful. And I skied that a few times. Didn't fall most of the times, though. On the last time, like near when I was finishing, I was getting kind of tired and I like fell pretty hard. But it's okay. I already did much more that weekend than I have ever been able to do before. I am not yet at that magical point where I can ski down the mountain and just relax and not think about what I'm doing. But I'm sure I'll get there eventually. All right, so this is gonna be my final trip to Tahoe, at least for this season. I'm actually going back to the Heavenly Ski Resort, which is where I did my first Tahoe trip this season. Though at that point, I was only doing some training and was just on the bunny slopes. This time I hope to actually get on some of the green slopes, and then maybe if I'm lucky, even a blue or two. All right, let's do this.
All right, I'm here and it's actually pretty late in the day. It's one of my, I think it's like my 4th blue run. So hey, I already made it to my goal for this quarter. And look at this beautiful view. This is amazing.
All right, and I'm done. I'm about to go back home, and I have to say I'm pretty pleased. I ended up skiing like 4 or 5 blue runs, and my goal for these few months was actually just to be able to ski 3 kind of by the end of March, and I've already hit that goal and it's not even March yet, so we'll see. I still fell a bunch of times, but I'm getting more and more comfortable. So I think my goal for my next ski trip is going to be to ski more blues, but just ski it much more comfortably, much more control. You know, also when I was having lunch, this guy sat next to me, this old guy who said that he used to teach skiing back in the 80s. And he asked me what I was doing there, and I said, hey, you know, I'm learning to ski. And he's like, how old are you? And I'm like, 34. And he's like, that's a little late to learn to ski. And you know what I said back to him? I said, it's never too late, and that's what I believe.
Josh, you lead the way. Am I leading the way?
Times, not getting better by lying there pretending to cry. You on repeat, you can see cause you have closed your eyes. You say you listen, but you're missing what it's all about. Rise up now. If you never fall, you don't change at all. Cry out now. Have you given up? I will never.
All right, I'm at Hughes Heaven, which is the run that I took yesterday. That's very, very steep at the beginning, and I fell like 3 times getting down the beginning part of this. We'll see what happens.
Another sign of growing up and growing old. You have keep passing by.
I almost fell at the very beginning, but I actually made it. Success.
You don't change at all. Cry out now. Have you given up? I will never stop, yeah.
All right, time for a debrief. The first thing I'll say is that I actually way exceeded my goal this year, which is great. At the beginning of the year, all I really wanted to do was be able to ski a few blues, and I thought that was going to take me a few months to do. But actually, I was able to do that way earlier than I thought. And then I didn't film this, but there were a couple ski trips later in the season where I actually skied some of the easier blacks. So mission accomplished. I feel really good about all that. And then I would say, in addition to learning to ski, there were also just some other lessons that I learned this year. The first being that it is really just frustrating to learn something like this new so late in life. There is so much stuff to learn. There's so much stuff to get. It feels overwhelming at first. And then when you are first learning to ski, you're not very good. So you're clumsy, you're falling all the time. It's like not a common feeling as an adult to just be completely incompetent at something. And there were a couple times where I was so frustrated where I was like, okay, I'm halfway through the day, this is not going well, I'm just gonna give up for today. But I pushed through and I'm really glad I did. The second lesson is that even though it's frustrating, there's actually a lot out there that you can use to help you learn. There were outdoor lessons, there were indoor lessons, there were YouTube videos, there were articles, and these were things that all helped. I think the important thing was that I had to really just commit and spend the time looking at all of these things, going on trips. I went on so many trips this year. A lot of them I went on alone. I just would drive up to Lake Tahoe by myself for the weekend, which, you know, wasn't as fun as maybe if I'd gone with other people, but I'm really glad I did because it was that practice that really helped me just learn faster. The third lesson was just actually about being confident and following through. There's this thing with skiing where in order to kind of navigate correctly, especially when you're making turns, you often have to kind of lean over the skis or lean down the mountain. You can't lean back as much. That's actually not the right thing to do. But it's like, it can be kind of scary doing that lean because you think you're gonna fall down and you're going so fast down already. And for a while there, I was just really timid and that was actually holding me back. It wasn't until I was just like, okay, I'm going to just be confident. I might fall, it's gonna be okay, I'm accepting that. It wasn't until I did that that I actually made some progress. And I remember just thinking, okay, this applies to skiing, this probably applies to other things in life where, you know, you're going for a job interview or you're trying to make friends. It doesn't really help to be timid and shy. Sometimes you just have to commit and be willing to fall down. And then the final thing was that it was just really fun and fulfilling to be learning something new and to be making progress. It was almost like a video game where it's like, you do something, you get to the next level, you unlock other parts of the map, in this case, unlocking other parts of the mountain that you couldn't go to before. So just that feeling of progress and learning was really fun this year and just really also helpful as I was dealing with other things in my life and stress and all this other stuff. This was one of the best things to help me get through a lot of things this year. All right, that's the video. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, please hit the like button, and then you can also subscribe for more. All right, peace.